Welcome everybody to Zoom class. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. We're painting water, an ocean scene splashing up on the rocks on Yupo paper, and I'm painting from a painting of Evelyn Wright's. So this is a sample painting that I did yesterday. And then this picture above it here is a photocopy of Evelyn's picture. Hers is 11 by 15. And one thing I'm noticing is that these rocks are a little lower than the rocks I have in there. So I'm going to try to do the one thing I'm going to try to do is lower these rocks when I put them in today. I'm just going to flip this over and paint on the other side. So this is Yupo paper. It's a piece of plastic, but it does take watercolor paint. So on Fridays, which is today, I usually try to stop and let you paint, but with Yupo paper, I may have to just paint the whole thing through because it's hard to stop. So the first thing I'm going to do is just wet it a little bit. Just giving it a little bit of water. And I'm checking to see if there's any fingerprints, because if you touch this too much, the oil on your fingers will keep the paint from sticking to the paper. So I can see a little spot right in there with the side. I'm not going to worry about the sides. There we go. So the first thing I'm going to do after it's wet is just add a little bit of sky color. Oh, I do want to tell you that I went and saw Evelyn and asked her to, I had a private with Evelyn because I think I lived here and I drove to her house just to visit with her. And I asked her to paint this with me and she could not reproduce it. So we're not trying to get an exact replica. Okay, so that's French ultramarine blue, which you can't see, but I'm going to scooch this over so you can see it. There it is. That's pretty clean French. And the sky is not that bright. So I'm going to add a little bit of burnt sienna to it. Gray it down. There we go. Perfect. And I'm just going to put in these just streaks across. I can throw a little bit of Antwerp in there if I feel like it's not sky enough. I feel like I overdid that. Sometimes, that's better. Okay, so here we go. Just trying to get some sky color in there. I'm going back and forth, which I don't usually do, but this is Yupo. I'm just trying to get kind of an even color up there in the sky. And now what I'm going to do is mix up some darker blue with a lot more pigment. It's going to be French and Antwerp and burnt sienna. And I should get a kind of a dark brown, dark greenish color. Oh, I like it. I'm going to put it down here at the bottom. This is going to be my dark greenish blue in front of the rocks color. You can see right here, the paper is not taking the paint because I've got a fingerprint there. I could even put a little bit of green blue into that and really green that up. I just love how it sort of magically runs around and does things.
I like your words for describing it.
Sometimes it's frustrating, but sometimes it just does. I just love what the weird stuff it does. What I'm going to do now is make a dark brown. And the way that I make a dark brown is I either just use sepia out of the tube, which I haven't bought any in about a month. I've been out. Or I make my own sepia, my own dark brown with burnt sienna and French ultramarine blue. And if I just keep adding both those colors, I'll get as dark a brown as I want to get. So more brown, it's more brown. More French ultramarine blue, it's darker, it's blacker. So I'm going to kind of start up here and make this, I'm painting this big rock. Now in Evelyn's painting, I see a little light area, and honestly, to me, it looks like that's a fingerprint that she wasn't able to get rid of, but so she just made it part of the painting. So I'm just going to bring this out about here and come down. I'm just going to sort of paint this in. There's that cliffy rock. You can see it's kind of takes off a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to put in the horizon line, and that's going to be with dark blue. So the dark blue is French ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. The same colors I started off with making the sky. You can use indigo if you want to also, or Payne's gray. And I'm going to be brave and just put this sky in right here. That's the horizon, or I'm sorry, the horizon line, right over to that rock. It might kind of take off a little bit, but I'll fix it up later. So this is all wet. Everything is wet. So when I touch anything, it moves around. A little green in there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is wipe out the splash. And I'm going to do it with paper towel. And then I'll put the rocks in front in. So I've got my paper towel and I've sort of bunched it up. And I'm just going to kind of see how it goes. I'm just going to try to pick a splash here behind this big rock and some splashes that start low and then like one or two that go up above the horizon line. So here I go. I'm just going to try to put in one that starts at this rock and splashes up. Just touching my paper towel, sort of going in the direction of the splash. So I'm kind of twisting it a little bit. So that's a splash for that rock. And I keep twisting my paper towel around so that I get a clean spot. Now I'm going to try and go for splashes that are starting here at these rocks. Now I'm going to go for some that are going higher, up into the sky. So here, here. And that's pretty splashy.
I love it.
Okay, I'm going to keep painting now. Now what I want to do is I want to put these rocks that are in front, and they're dark brown, which is burnt sienna and French ultramarine blue. Dee, I've been thinking about your guy and how he would probably, what he would do is just put in one color and then put the other one on top of it. So rather than mix it on the palette. So I'm going to have 3 rocks. They better all be different shapes and different distances apart. There's a little one down here somewhere. Oh, see, now I like what that's doing right in here, but you can't make it do that. If it does something you like, you just kind of have to leave it. And that's the fun part. Now I see that my horizon line has been sort of creeping up. And I can see that in Evelyn's painting, her horizon line creeped up a little bit too. So I'm just going to go in and make a little higher. I can see my horizon line through my splash right here. So I've got a thirsty brush, which means that it's wet, clean, and then I dried it off in my paper towel, and I'm going to see if I can just sort of loosen this in here and make a little better splash. So instead of using the paper towel, I'm using my brush.
Wow.
Okay. I can see one more, the last piece of this before I fiddle with it a little bit now is this area. This is kind of sand in here. Or maybe the water has run over the rocks and sort of gotten that more of a white caps. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of quinacridone gold right in this corner. And if you don't have quinacridone gold, try raw sienna. So here's my raw, that's my quinacridone gold. I'm just going to put it in this corner. Oh, fingerprints. Soften that hard edge. And now if I put a color anywhere in my painting, I have to put that same color in 2 other spots.
Mm.
It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be a little bit. So I'm going to go for, let's say, this rock here, a little bit there, maybe a little bit here too. And then this guy. trying to make my edge a little harsher right in there so that the rock looks like it's in front. And I don't know if you can see, but just those couple spots make this color make sense. So when it was just that color, it was like, where did that color come from? But as soon as you put in that same color in a couple other spots, it suddenly becomes cohesive. Now I have a little dark spot happening there, but I think I'm just gonna let that, see what it makes. It might make an eel, or who knows. I feel like maybe this rock should be a little bigger because there's a big white spot there. Or maybe it's, no, I do feel like it needs something right in this area. The rock a little bigger, or some more color in the splash. Let's see, what am I gonna try? I'm gonna try a little gold. Let's see if I can get it to bleed up a little bit. Splash up a little bit. And then go in with some more dark. Go in some, try and darken the front of this rock again. So the dark brown again is French ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, and just lots and lots of pigment. Try to. Okay. Now and one last thing, in Evelyn's painting, she has a little rock peeking up right here. The tip of a rock is right there. And I think I'm going to try to put one in right in here too. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to soften the bottom of it so it's like there's water rushing. I'm glad I didn't put it smack over the top of this one. It's off to the side a little bit. And this guy, unfortunately, I put the little spot of my rock right in the center of this splash. So now I feel like I need to move my splash. Maybe make it go more over this way too. Try the paper towel again. Auto splash. Yeah, okay. That's very, I wouldn't want to be trying to wade out in that. It looks pretty splashy. And I notice in Evelyn's painting, the foreground's very, very dark. So I think I will add another layer to it. It's going to be indigo or French with burnt sienna and some blue green. So all the darkest colors. I'm just going to put another layer on there. No guts, no glory. to make it a little browner. So more burnt sienna and French. So my super dark brown, one more time, is burnt sienna and French ultramarine blue. Okay. I have a harsh line right here, so I'm going to soften it. Make it not so harsh, like it's. Now I'm going to run the risk. I'm starting to like it. And now I can really just one brush stroke just ruin it.
Mhm.
So right in here, I'm wondering if I should lift a little bit or leave well enough alone. I think if I have to ask myself that question, the answer is leave it alone.
Mhm.
So I'm going to stop.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
I go to big view, huh?
Sure, beautiful.
Where I was-
Wow.
Hold on, could you show it
I
again?
like it in the mat.
Yeah, that looks
more
good.
The more I mess with it, the more I have to fix. So
It looks like Cannon Beach, Oregon, the way they have those
Oh.
big rocks out there.
Yeah,
Wow.
Oh, very nice.
there you go.
Beautiful.
That's
Oh,
kind
it
of
is
fun.
running. It's starting to run.
Ah! Okay. I'll run it the other way.
Yep.
Got
You're
my running rocks.
good. Oh,
Wait a minute.
All right, so-
ah, beautiful.
Oh, that's cool.
You see
You're-
that? I didn't
Your
see-
rock, your splash in the back, that middle one in the back, I wonder if you could put a little rock there to make it look like it's splashing up on it. Does that make sense?
Right here.
No, above it, right below, at the bottom of that there, right? And to the, in the middle of that splash. If that splash had a little rock at the bottom, it would be
Okay.
the reason for the splash.
Got it. I'm gonna try it.
Oh, look at you. Ah,
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, it's wild.
really nice.
It's very wild.
It's
Yes.
wild.
It's
Yeah,
very wild. Thank
Very
you.
nice.
wild and chaotic maybe a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what the ocean is. So very nice.
Look,
The one thing in your painting, Getty, that's making my eye go to, it's kind of, is that little point of the rock, that triangular one in your splash.
Yeah.
It seems like it should be maybe more washed out at the bottom.
Okay. And also I had my yellow ran up into the rock. So I erased that, but
And then that it did look good, like water was running down. Did it work
oh,
out?
it looked very, ran up from the yellow in the bottom. I don't know how it did that, but
I think I painted on this paper before when we did pumpkins.
Do we
a
do
long
pumpkins on it? It's possible.
Mhm.
okay, wash that rock out at the bottom. Okay.
It's just too much of a little triangle. And
Oh,
it feels like it's, so my eye just goes, oh, what's that? Rock is not in the water. It kind of feels like it's not in the water. So you have
oh, I
to,
see. Okay, I
you
kept
sort of
it-
have to just soften the bottom of it and change the shape a little bit.
see if that's any better. But I get
Whatever
where
you do a little bit more to it, especially one of the edges, one of the corners, because it kind of is like this. Look at my hands. It's kind of like that.
Wait
So
a
you
minute, I
want to
can't-
get rid of one of the sides,
The bulges.
the bulges. There's two bulges and you just need one bulge.
Oh, okay. So it's softer going into the water.
Yep. Okay, so we saw Shar and Mary.
That rock end, do you want to see it, Mary Kay?
Yeah,
Who is that talking?
Mary.
Mary.
Mary, okay.
Oh, it's running. Put it down. And where it ran, just sort of soften it there too. And I think you've got it. Yep. Laura, did you paint?
Yes, I did. I don't know how it's, I think there's some fingerprints on it, but I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try that.
Okay, Vicky. Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
You've got a big Mavericks wave rolling in there. It's just the whole thing is just gonna come over and take over those rocks. That's lovely. I love how the top of that wave broke the horizon line in the two spots behind the rock and to the left. And you've done a lovely job putting in your gold in more than one spot. Very nice. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. There's Char-headed birds in for Evelyn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're Evelyn birds.
Yep. Good.
It's not knocking my socks off.
Take a look at this. Tell me if it's better.
Who?
Laura.
Oh, let me look. Replace the pin. Hold it up a little bit. Oh yeah. I don't remember what I told you to do, but boy, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh
Really
yeah.
nice.
Fix that one square rock. Yep, you did it. Really, really good. So thank you for joining us. And I hope you try a piece of Yupo paper and some splashes.